Alright, today's video question is about Mormons and Christians. Are Mormons the same as ordinary Christians? Alright, so first of all, there's always been a great deal of variety inside of Christianity. So, in a general sense, Christians are defined loosely as like any religious group that greatly reveres Jesus Christ. But there's more to it than that. After Christianity first emerged, debates went back and forth about who Jesus really is. After a few centuries, the Christians were still debating, but old debates had been settled about Jesus, and now there were new, more specific debates that were raging. Now, going all the way back to the very earliest Christians, no matter what, the death and resurrection of Jesus were always central doctrines. But even so, there were a few groups that weren't like that. You know, they revered Jesus, but they thought his death wasn't important. So, more importantly, over time, the term Christian changes meaning from just groups that revere Jesus to eventually the term came to refer only to the prevailing views dominant across religious groups that revere Jesus Christ. In a very loose sense, then, we can list 5 basic Christian beliefs that include these. Number 1, monotheism, belief in only one God. Okay. Number 2, sin, the belief that humans disobey God. Number 3, incarnation, the belief that Jesus is God, that took on flesh and became one of us. Number 4, crucifixion, the belief that Jesus died as punishment for our disobedience in our place. And number 5, resurrection, the belief that Jesus completed this payment, this punishment, and returned to life. So, under this basic definitions, Mormons are Christians. Well, sort of. You know what? I'm just going to tell you what they think their beliefs are, and I'll let you be the judge of that. The official Mormon website is lds.org. Now, on that website, you can read a section called Gospel Topics Essays. So, there are many differences between ordinary Christians and Mormons. I'm only going to share what's on the website. In the Gospel Topics essays, the Mormon Church, is clear and open about its beliefs, specifically the beliefs that are controversial among the rest of Christianity. So, Mormons believe in a doctrine of deification, which means humans become gods themselves after death. God himself was once exactly like you are and achieved godhood, as you also must. Their famous phrase is this: as man now is, God once was. As God now is, man may be. So the concept of an eternal God is not what Mormons believe. They don't believe that God is the creator of everything, but he only created some of the universe, or like some of the world, since God himself was created by his God, okay, who also was created by God, and who also was created by God, okay. Now, our God has multiple goddess wives who had both divine sex and divine pregnancy to give birth to you and me, all of us as spirits without physical bodies in heaven. Like your father, your mother was once a human and achieved godhood too. Your godparents have physical bodies. They are not omnipresent. They do not exist at all times and places. They are not creators of the universe, but only some of the world. Mormons believe that to become a god, you must be so perfect that therefore the gods would never disagree or go to war. Mormons insist that they're monotheists, and even though they believe in many gods and even in becoming a god, but they say that they will always worship their particular god. They also revere their mother god, but they never pray to her. Now, I have to say that this is a semantic sidestep, because if you believe that those other gods are great and even perfect, then you're worshiping those gods by holding those beliefs. You just don't say the words. Furthermore, you worship a god who worships someone higher than him. So, who is the real God here? Alright? Now, originally, this is what Mormons believe. Originally, they believed that all humans existed in heaven without physical bodies, as spirits only. The plan of salvation for humans was decided in a council that all humans who ever have lived and ever will live, including you attended the council in heaven, or in wherever that particular heaven for your God. Okay? Everyone who agreed with God's plan was permitted to be born on earth with a physical body. Those who rejected the plan were cursed to be forever denied a body. And those the people who didn't agree, those are Lucifer and the demons. Now, when you were born, you forgot all about your earlier life as a spirit in heaven. But your physical body was necessary to allow you to progress further towards godhood. Okay, now after you die, you're going to be judged. And if you were obedient enough to the commandments and you had a deep enough belief, then you're going to become a god. Alright? There are many, many commandments from Mormons, and it all begins with accepting Jesus' words as true. Now, while Jesus' sufferings were necessary for your further progress, they're only like a step on the long ladder. For example, another major step is attaining something called a temple recommend. Now, what that is a piece of official paperwork. It allows you to enter a Mormon temple, and it's given to you on the basis of how morally worthy you are. You have to answer a questionnaire, and one of the questions on the questionnaire they ask you is, do you give 10% of your income to the church? Now, once you're allowed in the temple, then you can get eternally married. That can only be done in the temple. And those are like all key steps in the process of becoming a god. But by no means are they all the steps. Now, for most of the history of the Mormon Church, they banned, for over 100 years, they banned black men from becoming priests in their church on the basis of race alone. You're black, you can't be a priest. Just that's all it takes. All right. They did allow black men to be members of the church, but not priests. Now, if you're wondering, yes, you must become a priest to become a god. That's part of the ladder. Okay. So most Mormons become priests. Now, in June 1978, the president of the church announced that he received a revelation from God that now black men can become priests. All right, so if you're wondering, the Mormon church always maintains a president who is also a prophet that receives regular revelations from God. Okay? Now, furthermore, Mormons practice polygamy for over 50 years. They believe, still to this day, that God sometimes commands it. For some people, okay? After becoming a god, your marriage and even your plural marriages will continue for eternity. For Mormons, plural marriage is always one man with multiple wives. Now, eventually, the U.S. government took steps and they banned polygamy, and eventually they started prosecuting it, and they threatened to take the church's property as a fine. Then the Mormon church said, all right, we have officially decided to end plural marriages in order to submit to the law. And then eventually they even started punishing church members who continued to engage in it with excommunication or booting them from the church, which obviously be a problem with becoming a god. You can't become a god if you're not part of the process. One final thing, Mormons believe that Native Americans are really Israelites who traveled to North and South America by boat thousands of years ago. But not, back in 13,000 years ago when but like only a few thousand, like in the Bronze Age, like 5,000 BC. Okay? Now, they believe that eventually some of these Native Americans like separated. They were separated into two groups, and there was an evil group that became dark-skinned. And then in a war with the good group that was light-skinned, the dark-skinned ones killed all of them, thus leaving us with the Native Americans of today. I often forget to click like or share in the videos I enjoy. So if you enjoyed this video, then doing these things will help other people see it too. So you'll find a link in the description for a question and answer playlist with more videos like this one. God bless you and have a great day.